O ratu na Bliskom istoku razgovaram sa Abdel Fatahom Abusrourom, profesorom na Univerzitetu u Vitlejemu i palestinskim aktivistom za ljudska prava. Mr. Abusrour, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for hosting me.
IDF has announced the third stage of the offensive. Since it was said it is going to have three phases, do you think the end of this destruction on this scale is near?
Well, I guess there is no end for this Israeli occupation. Since 75 years, we are living this occupation and oppression on continuous level. The first stage was in 1948 with the ethnic cleansing of 70% of Palestinian population and destruction of 534 villages. Now it's a large-scale ethnic cleansing in Gaza will be followed by the West Bank and eastern part of Jerusalem. So the plans are to destroy everything, to kill as many people as possible, and to evacuate everybody who can flee, and kind of organize with the neighboring countries hosting Palestinian refugees who managed to stay alive, and so on. And all of it is not about resistance, it's about economy, it's about the gas, it's about the business that is done, and so on. So unfortunately, the ethnic cleansing that is happening and continue to happening after people talked about peace process in Oslo in 1993, which would have ended in 1998 with two states living in love and harmony, did not stop the occupation from expanding its colonization and continue to kill people on small doses sometimes. But when it happens on such a scale, genocidal scale, by this apartheid system, then people may wake up and start to react. But unfortunately, we don't need reactions. We need action for the long term to end this occupation and to stop it and permit people to live in peace and harmony and share the best of their humanity and not dehumanize them on every level in their existence and deny them even the breath and the water and whatever humanizes us as a human being. On one side, with all the pain, sympathy, empathy to Jews and their suffering, I guess everybody knows we were not the cause of their suffering. Why we are paying for the racism of Europeans against Jews in Palestine? We are not the enemy. Palestine was, is, and will continue to be a land of multiplicity and diversity, a land of inclusion and not exclusion. But this system, Zionism and racist state of Israel, wanted exclusivity, and this cannot fit with the culture and land of Palestine.
How the situation in Gaza in last 2 months reflects on the West Bank?
Well, West Bank has been on small death doses, as I have been saying since the 1967, after the occupation of 1967 of the West Bank and Gaza and eastern part of Jerusalem, uprooting trees, expanding colonies, and giving them license to kill, free license to kill, and with the two ministers who are settlers in illegal colonies in the West Bank, promoting this violence against Palestinians and want to erase the towns and give weapons for these illegal settlers in the West Bank to kill and uh, drive people out of their homes and properties and take more lands and expand the colonies. It's killing on small doses, but sometimes, like what is happening in Jenin and Nablus and Tulkarem, unearthing the earth and blowing everything up and killing children or young people or women or whoever is in the target. The targets are not mostly people who carried gun. Almost 95% of Palestinians or more never carried a gun in their life. People resisted for keeping their culture, their identity, their humanity, their beauty, their hospitality as Palestinians. And all those who come and visit can witness of that. And you can see also the difference between the hostages, if we can say that, that were liberated from Gaza, the Israeli hostages that were liberated from Gaza, compared to the Palestinian prisoners who are detained, most of them administrative detention, which has no charges at all. And were carrying the Israelis since the 7th of October, carrying an unprecedented attack on buildings, infrastructures, but also arresting as much people as possible, probably to use them in these exchanges of prisoners and so on. So, unfortunately, attacking villages, towns, refugee camps, unearthing the earth in many buildings, destroying homes and families, and so on, destroying the memories of people with their houses and homes and property, dividing families and cutting them from each other, imprisoning children who are 10, 12, 14 years old, and so on, against international law, against UN resolutions. And people stand with Israel. They have the right to stand with whoever they want. But there is a legitimate right of people to resist the occupation when they are oppressed. And I guess the example of Ukraine is a clear evidence that people under occupation have the legitimate right to resist the occupation by all means, including this armed struggle. Yet Palestinians, as I said, mostly more than 95% never carried a gun in their life. So why this killing, why this genocide is happening in every level in our life? Who are taking our heritage, taking our food, taking our culture, taking our identity, taking our lands and resources, water and whatever is under the ground, on the ground, and then the air is controlled by the Israelis. Left freedom of movement is completely blocked. The cities in Bethlehem or others are completely blocked. People cannot pass from one place to the other within even sometimes Bethlehem governorate because of the Israeli controls and so on. One road connects the West Bank from the south to the north. If this road with the checkpoint, a fixed checkpoint, is closed, then nobody can move. And so traveling, importing, exporting, manufacturing is in the hands of the Israelis since the occupation of 1967. But added to that, freedom of movement. People, students cannot go to university. Uh, Children cannot go to their schools if they are living away from that. People who are working on daily basis have no income anymore. Palestinians who workers from Gaza who were working on the Israeli side were pushed and left in the West Bank without any resources and so on. And we, as communities, as organizations, try to provide them with food, with clothes, with whatever is needed to live in dignity and respect. But in the same time, Israeli occupation is doing everything possible and impossible to dehumanize us and take the land, separate people and families from each other. And the families that I have in Gaza or in Jenin, dissociated with this cutting of electricity and internet and communications and so on. So what else can we do? International community do not listen to the plight of Palestinian people who were hospitable to a lot of refugees, including the Jews at a certain time. And yet we are paying for the crimes of the Nazis or Europe or whoever. This is a burden that we cannot carry on our shoulders. Christmas in Bethlehem, where
Mr. Abusrour,
Jesus,
Mr.
may peace be upon
Abusrour,
him, was born,
thank you
will
for
be out of service this year.
thank you for your time.